Hey, this is Dr. Show, the Japanese Behaviors. What was your Cowboy Bebop experience? Mine was this. This is what I was looking for, but there was a consequence. Cowboy Bebop made me a grown-up, and there was no return. It was 1998. I was 15. When I watched Cowboy Bebop for the first time, I thought this was the best anime ever. This was what I was looking for a long time. I was looking for something that was not a typical anime, not Ghibli, not Dragon Ball, not Evangelion, something more mature, something cool and stylish. But I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't even know what cool meant or stylish meant. I was just a kid, Then Cowboy Bebop happened. It defined cool for me. It defined style for me. I fell in love with it instantly. Now looking back, I wonder what it was that Cowboy Bebop taught me about growing up. To my 15-year-old self, to a Japanese boy who knew nothing about life. So here are my mishmash lessons from Cowboy Bebop. Lesson 1. A grown-up doesn't ask a lot. You read between lines. And this is signified by the famous opening. There was no song. It was just instrumental, jazz. What a cool opening. It doesn't tell you what this anime is about or what the characters' goals are. And this is the same for the story too. A flashback of Spike's memories, fragmented information of Jet's past, an accumulation of seemingly unrelated episodes. Cowboy Bebop never told me directly what it was about. It was my job to understand. Cowboy Bebop asked me to be an independent thinker. It demanded that I have my own opinion. Just like there is no correct way to enjoy jazz, you enjoy the way you feel it. It was not easy to do that though. I was just a naive kid. My life experience was so thin. Lesson 2. Cool means a deviation from the norm. All the characters in Bebop are deviants from society. They are bounty hunters. Spike is an ex-con, Jet is an ex-cop, Ed is a hacker, Faye doesn't even belong to the time. They are all anti-heroes. And anti-heroes are cool because they challenge the status quo. And that's what jazz is all about. Jazz is about deviation. Jazz is an antithesis to classical music. Poor against rich, young against old. I admired the deviants. I wanted to be like them, but what was I to rebel against? I was pretty comfortable living in my parents' house. Why question the authority? Japan was pretty peaceful and everybody was nice. Why deviate from society? No reasons. It was just not cool to be naive and trusting. That much I knew. And this is also reflected in Spike's fighting style. It was Bruce Lee. To me, that was way cool. Until Cowboy Bebop, I was a huge Jackie Chan fan. I couldn't see what was good about Bruce Lee. Jackie Chan was fast, fun, and creative. He was down to earth. Bruce Lee looked too serious, too unrealistic, and too strong. But after Cowboy Bebop, Jackie Chan looked like a kid. Jackie Chan was a pop music when Bruce Lee was jazz. Lesson 3. Actions have consequences, and consequences are sometimes good and sometimes bad. In Cowboy Bebop, it was mostly bad. Traumatic memories, a relationship failure, a loss, and you carry for the rest of your life, and that's blues. This made Cowboy Bebop different from other animes. Say, Lupin III has many similar characteristics with Cowboy Bebop, except Lupin never faces the consequence of his actions. He lives freely and carelessly, and nobody hurts. In Cowboy Bebop, each action has a consequence. People die and never return, and you can't let it go so easily. Bruce Lee expresses sadness when he wins. Jackie Chan, happiness, and that's the difference. Adults take responsibility, kids don't. Lesson 4. Reality is harsh. The world Spike and others live in Cowboy Bebop is not a utopia or dystopia or fantasy. Even though technology has advanced much further than ours, it's still an extension of our reality. There are rich and poor, politics and injustice, and human desires and human limitations. It shows the harsh reality of life. And ironically, this was also true outside the show. Did you know that when Cowboy Bebop was first aired, it got cancelled only after 13 episodes? I was devastated. Some said it was because of the bad ratings, but the reality was that they terminated the show. The best anime show of my life was terminated halfway. That was a cruel and real life. Lesson 5. Bitter ending. To me, Cowboy Bebop ended twice. The first time was when it was cancelled after 13 episodes. The second time was the final episode. Both times, they ended bitterly. Nothing lasts forever was Cowboy Bebop's philosophy. It gave me an idea that it was okay to end badly. A good time doesn't last forever. You enjoy and you move on. As for me, after watching the show, my happy anime life ended bitterly. After Cowboy Bebop, I was no longer the same person. I couldn't go back to the same animes anymore because I couldn't simply enjoy them without thinking or criticizing or getting bored. Every time I watched a new anime, I expected another Cowboy Bebop and ended with disappointment. Sadly, I realized that it was time for me to move on. I needed to leave shonen manga and anime and reach out to seinen manga and anime like Berserk to satisfy the empty room Cowboy Bebop created. To put that another way, Cowboy Bebop ended my childhood. So, these are the lessons that I learned from Cowboy Bebop. To me, Cowboy Bebop signifies the end of my childhood. It taught me what grown-ups deal with. It defined cool, defined style. But there was a consequence. There was no coming back to my innocent self. So, what is your experience with Cowboy Bebop? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And please don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. ありがとうございました。